Hey guys, this is John. I'm doing a little recording. This is late night Blitz. 5-minute action. Got a pretty good player too, 23-38. This is unusual for the wee hours in the morning, US time. Let's go Semi-Slav. See how this works out. I'm going to play knight bd7. Actually, no. I'm going to play h6 this time around. This is a much sharper move. And we're going to take this pawn. We're now heading down the main line of the anti-Moscow variation, which is a gambit for white. It's interesting that the Bartholomew variation, which is white or black taking on c4 on move 5, can end up being a gambit for black, but this ends up being a gambit for white, the way that this was played. What to do here? Knight bd7, g4 is an option. Let's go knight bd7. This is the main move after all. Now let's play h5. I have some experience in this line. So trying to crowd his bishop, threatening h4. He should take on d7, and then after queen takes d7, play bishop e5. So I'm guessing that's what we'll see. Yep, bishop e5. Let's go rook h6 now. And the queen c1 is the main move at this point, if I'm recalling my theory properly. Can also play f4. But yeah, queen c1 is the main move. And now it's knight e5, or knight g4, attacking e5. The line runs bishop takes g4, h takes g4, queen takes g5, rook g6. And then I go here. And I think there's both queen f4 and queen e3, I believe. Yeah, queen e3 seems better. How does it go now? Is it c5 immediately? c5 and then, I've had this exact position in a tournament game before, but it was a couple years ago. Is it b4 and then c5? Or I feel like it's c5 immediately. So that's what I'm going to do. I really feel strongly it's that move. And if he takes, I can play b4. And then they can put a rook on d1. I think rook a d1 or rook f d1, both are playable. And then I go queen c6 and I can recapture the pawn on c5. That's how it works. This line can get wild, just to warn you guys. I remember when I played this line, it was a game against this guy, Kevin Wasiluk, who's a FIDE master from here in Minnesota. We played in the Minnesota Closed Championship 2012, I believe. Might have been 2013, but I think it was 2012. And I think we got this position after b4, but he played, I believe he played rook a d1 instead of rook f d1. But I recall in looking at the game afterwards that there was one game that went rook f d1 that was played previously. So I think we're still in like known territory, actually. I like this line for black. It's very precarious, and black really has to know what he's doing, but I like it. He's burning a lot of time. I mean, we both are, really. Move 19, he's got a minute and a half left. So if he plays knight e2, I can take on e4, or I can play bishop takes c5, either one. Wow, and he just goes for it with knight d5. So that move, if I take, he takes this pawn, I take on c5 with the queen. And then presumably he's going to play bishop d4, but I have queen e7. And my king is exposed, but I don't think he can do anything about it. So let's just double check that. Take, he takes, I take on c5 with the queen. Does he have any other discoveries that are troubling? I don't think so. On any other discovery other than bishop d4, I can just take his queen. So bishop d4, queen e7. Yeah, I don't see it, so I'm going to go for it. Wow, he took with the rook. Surprising. Okay, let's just do that. Open up the attack on his rook. Yeah, he pretty much has to double, doesn't he? Thing is, I don't have to take him here. It's unnecessary. Let's just make a good developing move. Let's not mess around with that capture. At least yet. Because now he has trouble moving this bishop. Like bishop d6 would be a natural move he'd like to get in, but I just take. So he's going to try to force me to capture his rook. Well, if I take, he takes, I go rook d8, let's say. That's got to be good for me, right? Rook d8. I could also play bishop g5 here. Bishop g5, queen g3. Let's just take. I'll go rook d8. Thanks to that pin, he's got to play d6, basically. Let's do f6. Just get him to play bishop d4, yeah. I'm going to sack this bishop. I just want to get rid of that piece. Or these, I just want to get rid of the two pawns, I mean. So my king is a little unsafe, but I should be essentially winning this position. Rook g5 looks good. Let's just maybe go for some back rank business. Set up a threat here.
Check. Check.
Yeah, this is almost over. f5. f5 seems simple. Yeah, and he resigned. Woohoo! I'm up to 25-13. Farhan. Okay, let's go back. So I was kind of saying that this line with h6, the anti-Moscow gambit, is when white plays bishop h4. The Moscow variation is if white just takes on f6 here. And then after queen takes, he can play e3, defending his c4 pawn. That's a much calmer line compared to the game. But the anti-Moscow gambit is bishop h4. So I take on c4, he goes e4, and then g5. Oh, and the Botvinnik variation, which is one of the most complicated lines in chess, is take on c4 for black. And then after e4, black plays b5. And even though that allows e5, all hell can break loose after h6, bishop h4, g5, which I mentioned is actually like a gambit for black most of the time. because he'll lose this knight on f6, and black's king side has been decimated, but he often will just castle queen side after this. So this line, though, is very interesting with h6, bishop h4. Take here, g5. So black has an extra pawn, but white has a clear lead in development and good control of the center. Yeah, knight bd7. There's other alternatives for white, like h4 is playable here. Knight e5 is often played immediately. So castle, knight bd7, he jumps in. Yeah, and h5. There's another line with bishop g7 that has been heavily analyzed. I don't like the bishop g7 line as much because after take and then knight takes, there's this move bishop d6. And I don't know as much about the complications that this entails. So h5, take, here. Yep, rook h6. Just getting out of the pin on the diagonal. He goes there, hitting my g5 pawn. Knight g4. And then black gives back this g pawn. But after this, black just has to make sure to gain counterplay quickly, because if I wait a little bit, my king will probably be unsafe, and white can maybe even break through in the center with d5. So I think in this position it's imperative that I play c5. I spent a little bit of time, it took like 30 seconds just to remember, but I'm fairly certain c5 is the move. And then here, b4. Yeah, and I was talking about this game that I played previously in this line. I'm pretty sure it went rook a d1, queen c6, and then knight e2, I want to say is how it went. Is that right? It leaves the e4 pawn hanging. But I think this is how it went. It might have been rook a d1 in this position, now that I think about it. I'll have to check it. But after this, here, and queen c6, I think his best bet is to play knight e2, because I don't think the move played in the game, knight d5, is working. Let's confirm that, but yeah, knight e2. And I wonder if rook a d1 right here is better. Or knight e2 right here. It's interesting how the natural move, like putting a rook on d1, might be problematic. See, my memory of this line's getting fuzzy right around here. This is kind of towards the end of a lot of the known theory. Yeah, queen c6, and maybe white's already in significant trouble at this point. So if knight e2, I was debating whether I should take on e4 or take on c5. Looks like the engine clearly prefers this move. And then what? After this, just move the bishop back? Okay. And white has trouble defending e4. Makes sense. Okay. Let's turn this engine off. So instead, he just went to the center with knight d5. And you can see he's already spending a lot of time. He spent about half his remaining time on this move. But I think I can just take. And it appears that he should take with the pawn. But I think after queen takes c5, black is fine. Let's just load the engine and take a look. But yeah. With the key point being that at bishop d4, I can block with the queen. And I remain up material. So he had to do that. I went here. Engine approves of that move. Bishop e7. Okay. Okay, now rook g5 would have been strong. Ah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense, because then I would be threatening to take, and he would not be able to take with his pawn because he would lose the bishop on e5. So that's essentially decisive. I took right away, then got fancy and played rook d8. He played d6. I was going to go bishop g5 here, but I didn't like this move. And I thought maybe he would gain time to play c6 or something. But apparently that's also good for black. So I went f6, he went here, and I sacked the bishop. Okay, so the engine still thinks this is plenty good for black. And given his time situation, my material edge. I think, this shouldn't be too difficult. Here, he takes on c4.
Check.
Aha, so if he plays queen e4, it's not so bad for him. Interesting. Yeah, because after the queen trade,
Check.
I'm not up any material. He has 2 pawns for the exchange, and both of these pawns are hanging. Okay, so maybe I flubbed it a little bit in our mutual time pressure. Yeah, and after this, he's busted. Just resigned. Okay. Intense theory in that line. This will be good fodder to analyze. I'm definitely going to look this line up and try to dig up with my game with Wassilic. If I still have it, I'm pretty sure I do in my database. I'll post that in the notes to this video. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed that one. And please leave me any feedback in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.